I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Personnel Administration Committee. Today is Tuesday, November the 7th, 2023 at noon. We are here in the HR conference room and welcome to everyone joining us on Zoom. It is election day, so make sure to get out there and vote. It's a good day here in Monroe County to do that. I will note for the record that all three members of PAC are present in the HR conference room. And so at that point, I will ask if there are any changes to the agenda. Does everyone have one? Do you need one?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Hearing no changes, can I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Is there a second to adopt the agenda? Hearing a motion and a second, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it unanimously.
Courtney, where's the voting boxes?
They're in the folder for this meeting. There should be an @sign at the beginning. So they're at the
I was
top.
looking at the end, sorry, thank you.
All right. Just to reiterate, that was a unanimous vote to adopt the budget.
Got it.
Great. Move on to item number not the budget. You know, our minds have been for the past 2 months. The next item on the agenda is the clerk's office. But as previously stated, today is election day. I don't believe the clerk is going to be here for this item. Is that correct?
That is correct. She made a request that if possible, to have maybe another November PAC meeting, or you can go ahead and table it to a December, because we do have a December meeting already on the.
Members of the PAC, what is your druther?
Well, let me ask, I mean, essentially so we've received a WIS review, and I think the concern is that the classification recommendation for WIS is probably not going to be compensated highly enough to be able to retain that position. And we do know that that's been a problematic position to retain. In the past, we have for certain unique positions. I mean, we don't do it widespread, but we do it for unique positions. We've created the position as an SO and tied it to a different salary point on the grid. Is that correct?
That is
So
correct.
for example, the GIS specialist was an example.
That is correct.
And so the question is that a PAC decision, or is that really just a council decision, since it's essentially
Since it's
budgetary?
fiscal, I would say it's council, but you made a recommendation with regards to the GIS on where
We
you
did.
wanted it
Okay.
to be placed.
All right, we did. Okay.
So do we want to have a special meeting in November, or should we have this come back up in our December meeting? Is there,
Or move it on to council.
sure. Is there a preference among PAC members?
I think having a special meeting is always a challenge to get.
Yes.
Agreed. Particularly as we get closer and closer to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So December or broader council?
What do you think, Marty?
And your reason for not taking it onto the council is because you think we might need to discuss whether or not we want it to be SO.
No, I'm perfectly happy to just send it to the council.
I think that anytime we can skip a step, let's skip along.
With what does
All right.
the chair think?
I agree. I think we've got a recommendation from WIS and we followed the procedure. So,
Okay, I just need a motion to pull.
all
So
right.
moved.
Do we have a second?
Second, in my opinion, the motion was so that we could move it forward for open discussion about where we wanted it. to
Yes,
land.
at the
That's
county.
correct.
At the county
That's
level.
correct.
Yes.
That's correct. All right. All those in favor of the clarified, thank you very much. Motion, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, the ayes have it unanimously. Ms. Shell,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Next, we will move on to the assessor's office. We have with us here our oldest elected official, our longest elected official. I taught myself.
She said it herself.
I did.
Missed it. What?
She said-
They said I was an elected official, and I said I'm the oldest, but I'm not.
Well, you
And-
know.
And then this guy said the oldest,
Okay.
the longest serving elected.
Actually, Bob.
Actually, Marty and I have served together
There you go.
Since the 80s.
80, I started
86.
88. and you
I started in
Well,
86.
I started.
Just older than you or longer.
All right, well,
Sorry.
anyway, we need to get out of here in 1 hour, so let's dispense with the pleasantries. Assessor, we have 8 positions on our agenda underneath the assessor's office. Can you tell us what's going on?
Yeah. Did you get all my packets that I sent to you yesterday?
Yeah, but for the public,
For the public.
bring us up to speed.
Well, what happened? Oh, Lord, I was gonna make this really short and sweet, but
You
what
still can.
happened? Okay, I will. What happened is I came to PAC in September and I rushed it. It's on me that I rushed it. And I gave you only part of what you actually needed. So when it got sent to WIS, WIS sends us back this lovely letter that, and I have addressed that in all the stuff that I talked about. But basically WIS said to come back to you all and do a redo is what I'm kind of getting from this. So what we did, we went in and completely redid what I had sent in September. And by that, I mean all the forms that we did not correctly fill out or didn't have to fill out, didn't know to fill out. But we've got it all taken care of now. And what I did, I also went even further into this because WIS basically said that that what we were asking for was incomplete. Actually, said that what we had done was a little. I don't know. Should I bring up what they accused me and a council member on?
I would say the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, this letter was, I thought, was one of the worst thing I've ever seen from consultants from a vendor that we've hired that personally attacked me and who the unnamed council person was, because this was all just alluded to. But in WIS's thing, they said that I had gone to a council meeting where an unnamed council person member told me to just go get the auditor's stuff, job descriptions, and cut and paste. Well, first of all, that never happened. I think that anyone that goes to council meetings know you see me maybe once a year, unless I have to go up for some reason that you call me. I go to budget hearings, and I don't go every month, and nor have I been up there before or since the budget hearing. No council member, and I never said who. This was just something that hearsay, to say the least, said. No one told me to cut and paste anything. What I did do was look at least one job description in the auditor's office that's public record, just to see what I was missing, that the auditor managed to get all of her people moved to Pat. And we can't seem to get anywhere with WIS. So I looked at that. It was no different than any job description I've ever done. So all my people did was add to their job description that WIS did back in, was that 21, 22?
Mhm.
For the record, I thought when we did that, and I do thank you guys for that, during COVID, we were supposed to, as elected officials and department heads, supposed to have been contacted by WIS. Never once have I been contacted since in the 90s by WIS for anything. That's when it first started. I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get a visit. And you can't blame COVID because this office, as well as every office in this courthouse, never closed. You had to call us and we could get you in and we would discuss that. We never heard a word from WIS. So unfortunately, what WIS did was just take the old job descriptions and I guess made a decision, which wasn't bad. The comments were changed a little bit up, and then what you all have done, frankly, I am very appreciative, and they're good. However, the problem is that I'm in direct competition with the auditor's office. It's very apparent now that on the real estate side, her deputies are all Pats. Mine are all Commons. It really came to after the AIC conference when I came back and I lost one of my major deputies that went up to the auditor's office and made half again as much that she was making for me. And I can see this can be a real issue throughout the whole county. I'm seeing it everywhere in other offices. I hear from other people. So in order to, I guess, protect my staff and this office, I need some help. I'm asking WIS to completely look at everything. I do have so much more information. I have given you all of that. I know there's a lot of information. One of the things that Marty Hawk, who is my liaison, who has been from day one almost, she suggested that what I really need to do is, because WIS seems to think anything I say is not legitimate, follow up with IC codes, because everything I do is based upon statute, period. It's not something I'm sitting down there looking for jobs to do. And the statutes change annually, yearly, from every time the legislature's in town and session. It's Katie bar the door for the assessors. It's property tax is the number one issue, and they're constantly in doing things. And every time they make any changes, it impacts my office more than any other office in the county. This is where it all starts. It doesn't start in the auditor's office. It starts in my office. And the auditor has very good people, but we work like this together anyway, because what I do goes up there and what they do comes down to me. So I'm just requesting that we can send this back to WIS for a redo is what I'm asking for. And if you all have any questions or concerns, please ask.
Well, thank you very much for coming today. Thank you for explaining that and the kind of the history and the background of what's happening. I will note in today's packet, you have 163 pages. So we have been diligent to make sure that everything that you've submitted has been seen by not only us, but any member of the media or public that is also able to download today's packets. So everything is out in the open. At this point, I'll turn it over to PAC members for question or comment. Ms. Hawk.
Yes, for those of you who were around in many years ago, before we had WIS, Barb Clark and I went to an AIC conference where we met Kent Irwin, Wagner Irwin and Shealy. And what he sold us on was that this county was walking right into a lawsuit without even knowing what we were doing, simply because you could have someone in this side of the building doing a very similar job as someone in another office across the hall or up or down the steps. And somebody say, well, it's because that's a man, or that's because he's a different race than I am, or whatever. And we could be sued for discrimination. And that is why it is so essential. When you hear from one department that says, look, we're doing really just about the same thing as this other department, then no. In case you want to go back and look at the record, I did not tell anybody to copy and paste. I don't even know how to do that. My daughter does, but I don't, and I don't care. My brain's working, and that's all I need to get this point across, hopefully. Because we are putting ourselves right back at risk if we don't allow that to happen, that we allow the employees to see exactly what the description is in the other offices to make certain that there is no discrimination going on, or something about someone likes one group, what one office does more than one another office. So they might like one person or the other. And that just can't go on that way. So I did not say copy and paste. Absolutely not. But we should make certain that every department has the opportunity to see what the other offices are doing. And further, they should also see that point system. If a department head wants to see the point system, how they arrive at the classification, they need training. These folks know how to run their office. Their everyday business is not putting together job descriptions. So I believe we have just made it harder and harder and harder for our department heads to represent their offices, and we have to do better.
Thank you. Mr. McCann.
I will disagree on the point system, but that's a philosophical thing. I don't think that we want to encourage the idea of essentially writing position descriptions to the point system. The question is, what are the needs of the department, and are they accurately reflected in the job descriptions? Now, just from the procedure standpoint, let me understand. what was originally sent to WIS? Was it just the updated job descriptions, or did it include these classification review forms?
It included the job descriptions and a PAT questionnaire because she asked for them to go to PAT. And then they came back and said that they also needed it's called a job classification
Right,
review.
which I see
Which
has
you
now
got-
been
yeah,
formed.
yes.
So really, I think we can take the temperature down here.
It's easy enough when it wasn't you they were talking about.
Well, they said there was a piece of the process that was missing. Okay, that piece has now been completed. Let's send it on. Now that the process has been done correctly, let's send it on. I will say that I would not, I mean, this is just a judgment on the memo that, or kind of the cover memo that was written. I would probably rewrite that just because when you're asking somebody for something, it's, I understand where you're coming from. It's just my personal recommendation would be to kind of try to remove the emotion from that. But overall, the idea is now that we've fulfilled the requirements of the process, let's send them back.
All right, thank you, Mr. McKim. I'm looking over to our, do you have anything to add at this point?
I will just say that the frustrations expressed by both Assessor Sharp and Counselor Hawk are common frustrations that I've heard with the lack of knowledge about what information should be included in a job description, and that they expected a little bit more direction from WIS in the communication that they did or did not receive during the reclassification. So that just, these are things that I've heard, and I want to pass that on, that there are some departments who are a little bit more well-trained in how to write a job description, and that puts the other departments at a deficit. So maybe that's something that could be addressed moving forward.
That sounds interesting. I'd like to talk with you more about moving forward with something like that. Yeah. Michelle, do you have any thoughts or comments at this point?
No, we got the information from Auditor Sharp here, and so we can, not Auditor, Assessor Sharp, and we can forward that on.
Excellent.
And then I think that's all they were, and if, my understanding was if they needed more information that they would reach out to her at that time, so.
All right. Does that sound like a
That
workable
sounds very
plan?
fair. And Jeff, I appreciate your comment. You're not the only one that's made that comment. My whole staff asked me not to send that. It ticked me off. That's very frank, and it should have. And it should have. Wow, was that a ridiculous piece of information or letter from them? And I think WIS owes this office a better professional letter than what they sent. With that being said, I may remove that letter. I might just maybe a couple of comments. I thought it was kind of fun at the bottom. Marty doesn't know how to copy and paste. I bet you did. The copy and paste, I do not copy and paste either. You can ask anyone in my office. And I have to tell you what's so funny when you tell me to go copy and paste, all I can think about was in elementary school when you ate that white paste. And I don't think the IT department would like me to be pasting all over my computer.
All right.
It's just me. But anyway, I appreciate you guys. I will send, if you will let me, I will send it back.
I hear consensus. And
Just a minute, I will follow up because I will contact Ken Elwin myself. If they don't know that this county will not accept that kind of letter because that was not professional at all. And to listen to innuendos and falsehoods and arrive at what's going to happen to an entire department is not appropriate. And they want us, not we want them. So let's get that straight. We contract with them. We pay them to be professionals. They need to do that and quit listening to innuendos or falsehoods and find out what the true facts are before they send out a nasty letter.
so let me repeat. I'm hearing a lot of consensus.
Move we forward the reclassification requests from the assessor's office to WIS.
Thank you, Mr. McKim. Is there a second?
Along with the minutes of this portion of the meeting.
They won't be ready. I mean, I was gonna send
Well, And then send it later.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was gonna send stuff today, so.
For the purposes of this, we have a motion to
Get it
send
out
this
today.
on to WIS today. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have a unanimous vote. We'll get this
Thank you.
taken care of
Thank
today.
you so much. Really appreciate it. And Michelle, if you will pull that letter.
Are you gonna update it or?
No, just pull it.
Just pull, okay.
I think it was one of the best letters I've ever written. but-
Let's do it after you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they give me what I want, I won't send it back.
I will hold
Thank you
it
all.
until directed.
Thank you. Don't send my letter.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you all
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
All right.
I have it in my notes right here. Don't send a letter.
Let's move on to item number 5. We have Lori Kelly here with us from the Health Department. Let's start off with your public health liaison position, which is item number A on our agenda. What's going on here?
Well, I think that maybe there was just some seeking of guidance for clarification on some of the job descriptions, duties.
No, this is for the liaison. Whoops.
Yes.
And we do have a recommendation from WIS on this position.
Right, I wanted to pull something up real quick. To show you where, am I? Sorry. Now I want to put it on the screen to share. Okay, Courtney.
I have the copy. I have it pulled up in Chrome, and that's what you're looking for.
No, I was looking for the job description, so, but I don't know if that job description was,
It's,
it had the edits. Did it have the edit for the behavioral?
Public health.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
It's that one right there.
Right,
It's one of those three.
maybe that one.
I wonder if it was the 5 PM one.
There it is.
Okay.
Yep, sorry. So, Molly and I met with Lori, and Dr. Britton on Friday, and we went over this job description, and there was a little bit of tweaking that we did to the WIS job description that Lori and Dr. Britton felt like needed to be in there. With regards to, this section where it says may serve as media liaison, including the assistance of distribution of press releases to news media, state agencies, and county departments as directed by the health administrator. And that is, if my understanding, and you can correct me, Lori, was because if you were like on vacation or someplace that you would step in if for Dr. Britton, that kind of thing. So that person was there, and this person would also release for distribution would also be that as well. So it's kind of like if Lori is not available, this person is the backup.
It's just an option. I mean, really, the health department is so busy. We have so many things going on. We really need backup upon backup. And in many cases, just having one backup isn't necessarily enough. So being able to have other parties who are trained or available that can step in a moment's notice for emergency situations, or just, yes, if I'm ever take a vacation.
When you take a vacation.
So just clarifying that that's really the only purpose of having that in there is just an additional backup.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So,
So,
I'll go ahead, Mr. McKim.
okay, so the WIS memo says that this position was factored as or classified as a Pat B. Right?
Mhm.
Are you in disagreement with that, or are we just wanting to move forward with that recommendation?
I have no disagreement to that. I believe that we are wishing to move forward and again, just kind of clarify some of those points.
Okay, and you don't think I mean, does anybody think that adding these backup duties for the media liaison is going to change that classification? I mean, does
I don't-
anybody?
I don't think
So I
it
think
will.
it's just to me, it's just kind of clarifying what as the media liaison.
And the language is may, it's not shall.
Right.
So it's very clear that they're optional.
And this would be very limited, again, occurrences. So for the most part, it's myself working with the health officer and the Board of Health president on establishing those communications and then getting those sent out. So for some reason, something happened and they couldn't communicate with me.
Okay,
Are there further comments or questions from PAC?
so the request is just to forward this on to the council.
Mhm.
Do you have any further questions or comments?
No.
All right. In that case, is there a motion?
Move we forward it on to the council.
Second.
Hearing a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the ayes have it unanimously. Thank you very much. That's for item number A, item letter A. Let's move on to letter B. And can you kind of tell us what's going on here?
Yes, so this is just looking at some of the job descriptions within the administrative level and then within our vital records division. So again, I touched on just having that backup upon backup, having positions that are able to jump in and take over if and when needed to assist in backup situations. So many edits and changes were made to those job descriptions. We spent a lot of time, I think, on the health administrator job description, making some necessary edits and adjustments to that. There are some new items that have been added to that. One of those is just to add, let me see if I can find it. We are looking at putting in a line in there about overseeing our internship and externship programming. That wasn't included before. Some additional lines for overseeing with the new legislative changes, reporting, additional reporting requirements. So trying to make sure that everything's up to date with the changes to the law as well. And then just clarifying, lots of clarifying on duties. And there were some inaccuracies, in my opinion. I can't speak to what was in some of the job descriptions before, but just kind of cleaning up so they reflect what the positions are actually performing on a day-to-day basis.
There's a lot of red.
Yes.
There's a lot of edits to these. Michelle, well, hold on. Let me go to PAC first. PAC, do you have any questions or comments?
Well, I guess, do we have the classification request forms associated with this as well? We don't want to get into the same situation that we did with the
Yes.
assessor.
Yes.
Okay,
And if I can comment, we have been working for several months on updating just these sections. And as we would edit one, we would find, well, if that's going to be a backup for another, and if we remove this, then where's it going to go? And so it took us a while. And I think working with Lori and Dr. Britton, we have what they, see as the duties for this portion. So.
Yeah, really just kind of trying to clarify roles and responsibilities that are crucial for all of these positions because they're all really important just to the day-to-day operations. And the registrar position as well, clarifying some of those duties. That is a very key role within our department. We could not operate on a day-to-day basis without that position and overseeing and managing that customer-facing area. So.
Any further questions or comments?
I wondered if your board or your health director, whatever you call him, Mr. Sharp. That's his.
Dr. Britton.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so were they assist you with this, or they're aware of how this is working and so forth?
Absolutely. So they are aware. And Dr. Britton was here last Friday when he and I met with Michelle and Miss Turner, and I have spoken with Dr. Pritchard about it, Aurora as well. So they plan on looking at these again at their November meeting. But they've been very supportive and very involved in this process. They are very invested and trying to get these things cleaned up and get the department streamlined.
And I'm sorry, I know Dr. Sharp. As a matter of fact, your new person is, I've only known him forever, so.
Yes.
Clark.
Michelle, could you share page 209 of today's packet, which is the org chart?
It's very
You have
large
it?
and
Can you do it
colorful.
real quick?
That's page 209 of the packet.
I'm so far away, I can't see it.
I was gonna say, I need binoculars.
I know.
Yeah. I should have brought my reading glasses. I came in.
Thank you, Ms. Mosier. Let's see. Ms. Mosier, can you zoom in on the upper left-hand quadrant there, the blues, the dark blues?
Oh, the futures.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And here we see some dotted red lines. Is this what you mean in terms of backup? Or,
No, not at all.
all right,
So this is, so this represents the personnel within the Futures Family Planning Clinic. So the medical director is responsible for providing medical oversight with the procedures, checking, doing chart reviews, be able to come in and assist the nurse practitioner and the LPN if need be. So for medical-based decisions, that is essentially what those, from my understanding, what those red dotted lines are, but this is a recent topic that I have begun to discuss that we're going to get ready to look into more.
well, let's not open that can of worms.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the way I read this is you don't have government employees reporting from an HR standpoint to a contractor. They would report from an HR standpoint to the health administrator, who would have another government employee. But from a medical perspective, they are kind of responsible for and under the oversight of the contractor.
Correct.
That's the way I.
And within, so they all work under the Title 10 grant in the TANF, and it lists the health officer as being the responsible party for ensuring the grant contract terms are being, produced accordingly. So, yeah, so that is in the paperwork that they fall under the health department.
So health officer, that's Dr. Britton's title.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's what you were trying to ask. Yeah, health officer, and then you're the health administrator.
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Mosier, could you slide over to the upper right-hand quadrant now? And this is where some of these, the response is in pink, the registrar there is in dark green. That's one of the positions we're talking about today.
Mhm.
And the reason I asked for this to be pulled up is to illustrate just how busy you are.
Mhm.
I also, I've said this in the past, I'll say it again today. It's a lot of arrows leading to the position that you hold.
Mhm.
So that is an ongoing, and it's not a concern, but I just want to be mindful of that, especially given our conversation about you taking vacations.
Right, so I trying to leave this so we can look to make some adjustments in the future to help with that.
Okay, great.
And I will say that when we started to look at the futures clinic, but it was to add to this, and it was like, no, there.
One thing at a time.
Yeah, we're gonna tackle that another day.
One thing at a time. All right.
So, yeah.
All right. In that vein, then Pac, are there any further questions or comments about the 5 job descriptions we have in front of us?
I had one. And it seems like I've asked you this before, so yeah. These are, you're counting on this to be changed at the beginning of next year, is that correct? Or, I mean,
I
we're
think-
getting ready for next year, so that we're not adjusting.
Oh,
where we are now.
certainly, yes. So, I mean, I'm flexible, but this wasn't an intention to try to get this done before the end of the year. No,
I
just,
don't see how we could. Anyway,
Yeah.
just
Right,
give-
yeah,
Right.
that's what I was gonna say, I just don't think it.
Even the end of the year fiscally for us is December 16th.
16th.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it ain't gonna happen.
I mean, I think even January is probably not that achievable, because again, we want to make sure, that we're getting some good positive results.
Right, and I ask that only because I don't want you to have false expectation or your department, not just you, but the people who work there in your department. So I wanted to make that clear.
Thank you.
I have one final question for the financial manager.
Yes.
I know grants and revenue and reporting, all that has been an issue that we've talked about before in council and also in here. Is there anything, is this job description kind of fix some of those things, or you feeling pretty good about that job description?
Well, fairly good. I mean, I still, again, kind of shifting, trying to focus some of those responsibilities to allow that person more dedicated time to focus on the grants and managing the grants, doing the fund reconciliations, and kind of streamlining any of those other clerical type duties that can kind of bog somebody down. So I do think that some of the changes will assist with that. It is a lot though.
It's a lot.
It's a heavy job, and those are really mentally heavy tasks. So.
And I've noticed that you've required this person to attend county council meetings. So that's rough. That's fine. That's fine.
Could I ask you, what are you hoping to see on that financial? What are you hoping to see that would be?
I don't know that I have any expectations or hope. I think it's more about trying to clean up the job description. These are the items that the positions, should focus on in the day-to-day work. I think that's really kind of what we're looking for.
Well, when we're looking at job descriptions and classifications, once again, we want to make sure that if there's another similar type of job, it won't be the same, won't be the health department. I guess maybe I'm thinking like highway department, where we have heavy grants, lots of changes, a lot of things that have to be perfection, or we'll get in real trouble. And so I just want to make sure we're looking at countywide, how are we coming together? And I hope that somebody's looking at that, because that's what we're supposed to be looking at.
And I do think, I think my experience was really trying to get that focused around more of a grant manager role, because that is a really big focus of it. It does help with assisting with some of the budgets and the funds and running reports and such, but not to the extent, in my opinion, that it previously was represented.
Okay.
All right. I think we're good on this. Is there a motion from PAC?
Move we forward all these requests from the health department onto WIS for classification.
Is there hearing a motion and a second? Is there any comments on Zoom?
I have a comment. I think the motion would be contingent on approval by the health board, because the health board would be considering these descriptions at their November 16th meeting. And so they would approve them, and then it would go to WIS.
What she said.
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think I have.
Okay. All right, then yes, I would consider my motion to include contingency that it's approved by the health board.
And your second is still relevant?
Your contingency of what?
Approval by the health board.
Oh, well, that's why I asked that
Yeah.
question.
So Molly requested that it be. Yeah. Okay.
All right. All those in favor of the amended motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. So we'll get that off to the health board and then off to WIS.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you.
Next, we'll move on to our Veterans Affairs Department. We have Mr. Miller here with us today with a request to update a job description. Mr. Miller, what is going on today?
Well, thank you all for allowing me to be here today. I really appreciate the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what we're trying to do in my office. As you all probably met Andrew at the budget hearings this year, we're really in a unique position right now in the office where we can be transformational. What I want to do with the office is to have two fully fledged veteran service officers who can impact major change within our community of getting veterans benefits and resources that they're eligible and entitled to. One of the major
Well, the cap can get the questions.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't.
They were there. Yeah.
Who's speaking?
Yeah, they're there.
Oh, they're there.
I don't know who was speaking.
I wonder if he's speaking to softly.
Oh,
Boy, you're making that so tiny that
Oh, well, that, I don't have
I
control of
can't
that.
hear, I can't see. Boy, it can't run.
I'll try to speak up. Is that helpful?
Oh, are you the one that was?
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
I'm sorry. So what the overarching goal of the office is to expand our outreach capabilities. There are about 7,000 veterans in Monroe County, and and this is a nationwide problem. We're only really aware of about a third of those veterans and are able to kind of reach out to them because they're either involved with veteran service organizations or they're already our clients. That leaves 2/3 of the veterans in Monroe County without real knowledge of our existence and what kind of benefits and services that we could help them get a hold of. So what our intention is to expand the roles and responsibilities of the benefits coordinator position to make it a fully fledged assistant veteran service officer and deputy director. In the same vein as Lori, we need to have some ability to have backup. So when we do a lot of flexing to go to after hours meetings and commissions and coalitions, so there's oftentimes when there will be just one of us in the office, and having that ability to back one another up will make a huge difference as we start to move forward. As I mentioned previously, the biggest enrichment of this job is the taking on of additional outreach capabilities so that we're actually getting out in front of, this is a role that has been traditionally just mine to do, as the benefits coordinator position has traditionally been a much more of I think before it was the benefits coordinator, it was an administrative assistant. And so it's taken small iterational changes to get to where it is today. And we're in a position right now where we can actually make a big move and really expand the horizons of what we do to become the very best veteran service office in the state of Indiana. So that is the basics of what it is that I want to do, and I'm happy to answer any questions or concerns that you might have.
Well, that's a compelling vision. PAC members, do you have any comments or questions?
Well, so I believe that, let's see, you mentioned somewhere that there's sort of a trend in other veteran services offices to realign
the jobs from various other names to the naming convention of assistant veteran service officer. And you actually have to have particular qualifications in order to be able to attain that status. You have to have military service and be accredited by veteran service organizations in order to be able to attain that name and rank, as it were. So, yes.
Do you serve more than just Monroe County?
We're charged with serving Monroe County, but because we do a good job, we get a lot of people from a lot of other counties that come through our office for various reasons. Sometimes they'll have had a bad experience with another service office. Maybe they just prefer us. We always try to ask if they've been to their service officer to give them a chance to try to help them. But we don't let veterans fall through the cracks when we have the opportunity to help.
There's a real reason why I'm asking you that question. I'm a major supporter of our veterans and have many in my family that really could, from time to time, perhaps use some assistance. I would really like to see more, and I know that you have had articles in the paper,
Yes,
et cetera, but I really hated that I said that because that's sort of racist. Why I said I would like for you to also concentrate a bit more on the social media,
yes,
and so that we can share it. And so, because we all have a lot of followers and we all have a lot of veteran friends,
absolutely.
and many times they really don't know what all is available. So if you could put something together, like almost that kind of routinely, I'm telling you, the sheriff's office is doing an outstanding job of making sure that we're aware of what his department is doing and staying involved with the community.
Absolutely.
So if you could, and even our fire district is doing the same thing.
Yeah,
And it's
yes.
kudos. So let's get some, some heads up for our veterans.
Absolutely. I appreciate that you brought that to me because that is part of the impetus is to get that out into our veterans' hands so that they can see what's going on, what we're doing and what we can do for them.
And a little heads up, people don't want the written word. It's sort of like comics. People just want to look at pictures.
Sure.
So get a lot of pictures going.
Pictures.
Masterclass.
I know.
I mean, Marty knows how to do it.
This is, yes.
I started selling real estate in the 1970s,
Okay.
so I, had to get people.
You get a lot of-
If I could, maybe pivot the conversation. I'm very much a fan of this. I think this is the right direction. I particularly wanted to draw people's attention to your narrative that you wrote for today's PAC agenda request. That those 4 paragraphs really are a clear indication of where your mind is, where you're headed with this. It's just great. In the little bit of time left, I wanted to ask you, Veterans Day is Friday.
Yes.
Can you say a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So we've got a couple of things that we're going to be supporting, and there are a couple other things that didn't work out for our timing, but on Friday morning at the IU sample gates, there'll be a flag raising ceremony that starts at 7:30 a.m. for us, for those of us who may not have been in the military. And that'll be at the sample gates. Then on Friday morning at about 10:30, the American Legion, VFW, and AMVETS are having a combined ceremony for Veterans Day that will actually kick off at 11:11 on 11/11. And they'll have a Veterans Day ceremony that will be very similar to what they had last year. And both Andrew and I will be there to support that.
Where?
That's at the American Legion Post on West 3rd Street. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And then on Saturday afternoon, evening, there's going to be a Creative Arts for Veterans program where the Center for Rural Engagement from IU has a program called Creative Arts for Veterans. They're going to have an art making process that'll happen from about 5 to 6 at IU, and I can get you all the details of where, when, and how. And then there'll be a showing of a movie called Just Like Me, a Vietnam veteran's tale.
Yeah.
That will be at the IU Cinema, and I believe that starts at 7:30, but I will get you all the information on that so that you can share with your constituents.
wonderful.
And the free meal
Oh,
is.
yes. Yes.
Let's talk about food.
Yeah,
People like to go where there's.
There is a free meal at the American Legion after the Veterans Day event.
And that's actually on Saturday.
That is on Saturday,
actual
on the
Veterans
actual
Day.
day.
11/11
On 11/11, on 11/11.
So if
That's
you
a good
could
money.
send out some of that
Absolutely, that will be-
information, I would love to share it on my Facebook page.
Absolutely.
And I bet we all would. Let's make sure the veterans know we care about them.
Absolutely, yes. If there are ever things that this office can do to support what you're doing, please do tell us what it is. I'm happy to make those things
Well,
happen.
it sounds like it's going to be Andrew's job.
Well, part of it, absolutely. The beauty of what it is we're gonna be able to tag team things and we're gonna be able to hit the ground running in a way that I don't know that any other service office has done before.
Sure. Sir, would you like to say anything?
Other than, thank you for, your time today. I have only been in the office for a few months now, but I've had a great teacher here. So, while I've had some new things to learn and, the difficulties of navigating the VA system, I think what we both share is, our attitude and, drive to help out the veteran population here.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, and thank you for your
Oh,
service.
thank you.
And, it's not just service to the veterans, but to the
The
veterans'
family.
families.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And because we have widows who should have been receiving some
Absolutely.
assistance and it took forever to get those answers.
Yes,
So we hope that you can get these things turned around quicker for the families as well.
that's our hope, is to be able to provide the service that they desperately need.
Right.
Let's take some action on this.
Oh,
Real quick, this is a totally
Sure.
minor
Yeah, please,
nit,
please.
but if you look on page 214, it looks like there's a typo that got in there,
Oh.
maybe some text that got
Oh.
Bunch of
a
zeros.
bunch of zeros that got
Right.
inserted. So we'll want to clean that up before sending it
Oh,
off to
okay.
us.
I don't think that
Is
impacts.
Is that
like
on the
somebody hit it.
request?
And no, it's on the actual job description.
Oh, okay,
It's just in the red line. It looks like somebody just hit the
okay,
help
And
down.
it just kept
Maybe maybe somebody's cat got on the
Yeah.
keyboard.
okay.
Yeah.
I can take care of that.
The cat messing with the
My,
yarn.
my cat does it all the time.
Yeah, so does mine. Well,
So, all right, move, we forward this request to WISP classification.
Second,
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it unanimously. We'll get that off to WIS for you and see you back when that comes back.
Well, thank you so very, very much for your time and your attention. Thank you so much.
All right,
We'll leave you to your day. Thank you.
all right. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Pat, the next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes as they are presented in today's packet?
I didn't get them. I'll be honest, I didn't read them.
They appear to be in order.
I didn't have any changes either, so we will approve those by acclamation. Any last, I think, you know what, we're good. We're gonna end 10 minutes early. This meeting is adjourned.